So I'm on a live stream one night with Tim Wright, JJ from the Gentleman's Hangout, and Marco, the Watch Cardinal, and the conversation moves over to G-Shocks. And I admit that not only do I not have one, but I know pretty much nothing about them. But I realized as a watch collector I should maybe have at least one G-Shock. After all, they are the undisputed beater watch. And of course they have their very devoted fans themselves. So I asked the lads, like, if I was to get one, which one should I look at, knowing nothing about these things at all? And they have very strong opinions about which kind of G-Shock would suit me. Anyhow, about a week later, they do a live stream themselves. I'm not on it. And without my knowledge, they do a fundraiser to buy me a G-Shock. God bless them, man. I love those guys. So not only do they raise enough money to buy me a G-Shock, they buy me two. So I have no idea what's in here. I haven't opened them yet. I'm going to open them now. Let's see if they can turn this Omega/Rolex fanboy into a G-Shock man. Welcome back to the Timeless Watch channel, guys. Interesting one this time. Venturing off my regular watch map. Before we get into anything, as always, what am I wearing? I am wearing the Omega Speedmaster from 1988, the 861 movement. Absolutely adore this watch. But this time I've taken it off the bracelet and I've put it onto what I think is the sexiest NATO strap available. This one's from Bark and Jack, Adrian. I'm sure you already know his channel, and he has a store and he sells his own NATOs, all stuff that he handpicked out himself. And he sent me a couple of them a few months ago. I've only recently had the chance to put one on, but I've got to say, maybe the most beautiful, highest quality NATO I have ever worn. And I have those original Omega ones, the ones that cost 180 bucks. This is better, and I think it's only like 25 or 30. Absolutely gorgeous. He has different styles, like higher level, lower level ones that are a little rougher, more kind of, you know, down and dirty. And then he has this kind of flashy, kind of luxury quality ones. So don't you think that looks beautiful on with the Speedy? Beautiful. Anyway, what are we doing today? G-Shocks. I've got these two G-Shocks. I gotta open them. I haven't opened them yet. I got them a couple of months ago, honestly. Tim sent them in the mail from, I guess he's in Brooklyn. And I said, you know, rather than open them right now, let me do it on camera so you see my real reaction. So I don't have to kind of pretend. And I've been so backed up with so much stuff on the channel, I haven't had a chance to open them. Now I'm going to do it. But as some of you guys know, if you know the channel well, I'm a musician. I was in a rock band for a very long time, and what we would do is we would, in most cases, support bigger acts. So we were on with The Who and with Van Halen and Journey and all these bigger bands. So we'd come out and warm the crowd up, you know. There's a support act. You've seen it many times. The concert is the main event, but then before that, sometimes you have a few support acts. So I'm actually going to do that today, because really just opening these things is only going to take a minute or two. Then I'm going to have to go and wear them and see if I like them, and I'll come back to you guys with a full report at a later stage. Guys, I get sent brands all the time. Tiny little micro brands, Kickstarters, startups and things like that, hoping that they'll get a chance to be mentioned on the channel, hoping that I'll love their products and tell you guys about it. Look, in most cases I say no thanks. A lot of homage watches, a lot of stuff I'm not interested in, a lot of watch winders. I don't really care for watch winders. I don't really want one myself. I don't see the point myself. But I realize that it must be very hard for a lot of these brands to get off the ground. Think of how hard it is just for Breitling and Panerai and people like that to compete with the Goliaths like Rolex and Patek now. So how hard must it be for these little brands to even get out there, get their foot in the door? It must be very difficult. So I went through a lot of the stuff that that I have that came in the mail over the past couple of months. And I picked out two watches that I think are interesting. They're not copying bigger brands. They're doing something original, something new. You may like them, you may not. I'm kind of on the fence about them myself, but I thought that they were interesting, original ideas and so on. So let me give them a shot at attracting your attention. I picked out two brands, one from Nove called the Modena, which is kind of a motorsport inspired watch, and another one from Pantheum Roma, an Italian brand from Roma. Very, very small micro brand. They did a Kickstarter and they're basing their watches on that magnificent structure down there in Rome that dates all the way back to the birth of Christ. So I thought that these were both interesting and worthy to give you guys a look at on the channel. So let's take a look at them as the support act, and then we'll move on to the G-Shocks. Here we go.
Okay, before we get to these micro brand watches, just quickly I want to tell you about Mirage watch rolls, the best watch rolls on the market for the money. Guys, those cheap ones on Amazon are horrible, and then the nice expensive ones that protect your watches and they're all beautiful leather are too expensive, like the Bosphorus ones and so on. Guys, Mirage have the answer. These guys don't pay me, nothing like that. They just send me their newest watch rolls, but I love promoting them because they're just gorgeous quality for the money. This is the real leather one. They have a couple of different options at the moment. The faux leather are like 80 bucks. These are 160. They have them in 3 watch, 2 watch. I believe they have a 1 watch one now. This is their 4 watch, obviously. Just look at the quality. It's just insane. With the partitions, of course, the most important part is those partitions so your watches don't bounce off one another while in transit. Amazing, I love them. Mirage luxurytravel.com, go check them out. Okay, let's take a look at some watches. So this is the first one I'm going to feature of these budget new brands. This is from Nove. This is their Modena model, and I think what they're referring to is the famous motorsport city here in Italy, Modena, where they had the Mille Miglia and stuff like that, because this is inspired by race cars, sports cars. You see these lugs here kind of resemble the air intakes, the ventilation on a car. These look like the brake system on the wheels. You see what they're doing? Even the dial is supposed to resemble the engine heatsink grille with that smoky kind of look and the fade to black around the edge. Interesting approach here. They're kind of aiming it at the market of car enthusiasts, you know, motor sports, sports car enthusiasts. It's got an exhibition back, which is nice. It's kind of like you're seeing under the hood. And it is the Ronda R150 automatic movement. Pretty solid movement, pretty popular. I'm not going to say it's the most gorgeous movement to take a look at. Normally I'm against exhibition backs unless we're looking at, you know, Côte de Genève and beautiful mastery aesthetics. These are simple workhorse movements in a lot of these cheaper watches, so I just don't see much point in looking at the movement. But in this case, I kind of get it. It adds to the machine look of the watch. They've also covered it with a domed crystal, just like on the front of the watch. A bit space aged, honestly. I'm not a big car fanatic. To me, when I look at this, I think of like, it's a bit Star Trek-y or something like that. It's kind of futuristic. It's got 200 meters water resistance as long as you keep that crown screwed down. 44 millimeters from here to here, 22 on the bracelet, and only 12.5 thick, which would be even slimmer if these weren't domed. So that's probably my favorite thing about this watch, is the way it lies quite flat on the wrist. I'll put it on in just a moment. I do like the kind of blue hue that you get from that domed crystal. The colors on the dial do change depending on the time of day and the ambient light. Very important stuff. Simple enough, you know, hours, minutes and seconds, and of course a date complication. And very cool, very kind of sports car looking crown here, which is protected by these crown guards that are supposed to look like a brake system. So I guess that's the That's the little gimmick they're going for there. Kind of cool. That screws out and you can adjust the time or wind up the watch, and tightly screws in again for the full water resistance. It doesn't taper at all. I do like a bracelet to taper if possible. They have their logo here. It's got a butterfly deployant. Tad annoying, actually, I must say, because if you don't, sometimes with butterfly deployants, if you put down one side before the other, it doesn't really matter. You can start with one side or the other. With this, if you make that mistake, you're going to have to start again. You have to put in this side first and then lock this one down because it's got the logo on there. So there's that, but that's not usually a problem for most. $670 might seem a tad steep. If you go to their website, you can get 10% off, and I will leave a discount code below as well. You can see how it wears there, kind of flat, which it's a 44 mil, so it suits my big wrists really well. If you have a tiny wrist, you should avoid this watch. It's for big manly wrists. And they have the Nove logo there on the crown. I always find that's a nice touch. And with many sub $1,000 watches, they skip little details like that, and I think that's remiss. I always like to see these small details taken care of. Just brings the level, the overall level of the watch up. So for a $500 watch, or you know, it's $600, but you can probably figure it out with the discount code and so on to get it down closer to 500. I think it's a pretty solid option if you want something kind of loud and sporty and aggressive and shiny. It ain't bad. The next one I want to show you is this watch. I actually have two from these guys. This is the Pantheum Roma, the Oculus, made in Rome, 316L steel. Very interesting watch. If you're not familiar, the Pantheum in Rome is one of the most important structures ever built. The original foundation of the building actually dates back to before Christ, about 30 years BC, and then it was built over the following couple of hundred years. Pretty incredible building, which revolutionized engineering and architecture. That dome was the largest on any building for about 1500 years until they built the Duomo in Florence. And because of the incredible pressure of an enormous dome like that, eventually pushing out on the edges, what they did is they used heavier materials down at the base and slowly built up with lighter and lighter materials, even volcanic rock at the top that's extremely light, even floats in water. And then they left a hole at the top, like a window for the sunlight to beam in, and that is known famously as the Oculus. And that's what this watch is named after. This is the Pantheum Roma Oculus. And if you look very carefully, it's bringing back to life that design. And they come in different colors. Actually, I've got two right here. The reason why is because the rock has a lot of different colors during the day, and that dome kind of changes its look depending on the strength of the light coming in. I especially like this one. It's quite interesting. I can't tell if it's orange or gold or pink salmon. It kind of dances between all of those depending on the light around it. This blue one is quite striking, of course, as well. We all love a blue dial. We've got the Roman numerals all around the bezel. This is not a turning bezel, it's a fixed bezel. And check out the head. I mean, this is chunky. It's 14 millimeters thick. It's quite something. It's quite a block. Yeah, check out that, the beautiful Pantheon on the back, and all the info is written in Italian, which I like. They even have acciaio inossidabile, which means stainless steel. Inossidabile means stainless. It means it cannot be oxidated. But I like that touch that they didn't write it in English. They kept it in Italian. And of course, me having a channel based primarily in Italy, I figured I had to review this watch. They have also the Pantheon right there on the crown, which is an excellent detail too. And just like the Nove Modena, they've got these regular screws there to release the the bracelet. This watch actually looks great on a white rubber band. They actually have rubber straps for sale as well. Shame they didn't send me one, because I actually think it looks great on that rubber. This bracelet is a little odd, isn't it? I mean, it's interesting. It's got a really, really wide profile here, a wide neck, you might say, comes all the way to the edge of the lugs, whereas like a Rolex or something, it would come in and then the bracelet would begin, so you'd have a shoulder, whereas these shoulders are kind of covered, so you have a very, very girthy, muscular look. It looks pretty wild on the wrist. I'll put it on in a moment. This is all 316L steel, and I love this because, first of all, they have the Pantheon there, kind of as you close the butterfly deployant, it makes the image there, but there is no preference here. Unlike the Nove one, you can put on either side first and the second one will click down. You can't make a mistake here. That one can go first or this one. I think that's a nice, very small detail, but avoids that kind of annoyance. And again, there's that closed back. No need for an exhibition back here. It's got the NH35 movement, very famous. You find it in a lot of Seiko watches, etc. Rock solid, very dependable, but no need to see that movement. It's not a particularly attractive movement to look at. It's just a workhorse movement. So they kept this with a closed back, and I think that was smart. They kept it nice and simple, elegant, all in Italian there with the Pantheon, or the Pantheum, as they say it in Italy. They use an M at the end. It's a 40mm watch, all 316L steel, satin this time rather than the high gloss that the Nove one had. It's a tad more elegant because of that. 200 meters water resistance also. That's fair enough. That's what I expected with a head of a watch like this with closed back and everything like that. Screw down crown with the crown guards. I expected it to have at least 200 meters water resistance, so that's pretty cool. With this watch, I think it's more about looking at that colorful dial and just enjoying the whole idea of evoking of the Pantheon in Rome. Just kind of interesting thing for the kind of architectural, historical aficionados out there. They might dig this watch. Doesn't that bezel kind of look a little Explorer 2-ish? To you? Similar, right? Except it's got Roman numerals. That's one thing I gotta say. I like the Roman thing about it. I like the whole Italian vibe. You know, Italian design, Italian company based in Rome, modeled on, you know, reminiscent of the design of the Pantheon there. So it's just something cool about having a Roman watch on. I was walking around Venice the other day wearing it, thinking, Rome, you know, has a coolness to it just for that. The price is just under 500 euros, so that's about 580 in dollars. But you can get a discount by using the promo code, which I will leave down below in the video description. So there you have it, some interesting new brands trying to put out some fresh new ideas onto the market. I have to commend them for it. Would I run out and buy one of these for myself? I don't know, maybe one of these I would, because of the whole Roman connection, and I have the whole Italy thing on my channel. So food for thought there. Let's get on to the G-Shocks.
Okay, it's time for the main event. Now, as I told you guys, I haven't opened these yet. I wanted to keep it real and keep the reaction honest. They were originally only supposed to send me one, but I guess the audience was so excited they kicked in a lot more money than they were expecting, and they were able to get two. It'd be so awkward if I didn't like the watch at all. So at least now we have double the chance of me digging one of these. So I've got another camera here for close-ups. Let me see if that's in frame there. Let's open this small one first. I'm nervous about this, guys. Whoops. A little cover there. Let's see what we got. Very simple, huh? Ooh, all black. Oh, wow. All black. Dig it. I have a feeling JJ picked this out for me. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments, because this looks like what JJ would think I would wear, you know? He's probably right. Look at this. You know, I'm actually impressed, guys. This is, dang, this is really fucking cool. It's all stealthy and dark. It's kind of evil looking, isn't it? It's kind of badass looking. Wow. It's from the other angle there. Wow, what model is this? Let me take a look. There's a tag. Wow, it's only 99 bucks, 100 bucks. Wow. Amazing for 100 bucks. The GA 2100, black. Yeah, you said it, black. My God, the whole thing is super stealthy and dark. I'm impressed. I'm gonna put this on. Wow, we're off to a good start, guys. Whew, thank God for that. I was nervous, I really was, because it was such a nice gesture. Can you imagine I didn't like either of them? I'd be like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Let me stick it on. It's really cool, actually. Hell yeah. Wow. Look at that. Well, that keeper needs to move around a little bit. Well, whatever, you can imagine. Look how stealthy and kind of badass that is. Guys, I am impressed. I mean, how can I read the time? I guess I can read the time. You can see it there. It's a shame I don't have my little UV light with me to fire up the lume on this, because no doubt there's going to be some cool lume on those hands, no? I don't know what these buttons do. I'm G-Shock illiterate, guys. I have no idea. Oh, it's got a little light there. A little light turned on for a second. See if I can make that happen again. There it is. I like it, I really do. Shit, black's my color. Are you kidding me? That was an easy one. Well done. Oh, we're all right. Now I feel a bit more relieved, like, because if I didn't like it, the lads would be so like, oh, we gave you free watches and you didn't even like them, you ungrateful tit. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Camera's working, yeah? All right, I'm running out of light here, so I gotta do a quick. Got her there, yeah. Well, this one looks a bit more elaborate, bigger box. This is how to stand it. This one's got a manual, the other one doesn't. The other one's a lot more raw. I don't even know what all this stuff is. I'm not familiar with the G-Shock universe in any way. All right. Oh, it's got another, it's the same box on the inside. Got it, okay. Similar little tough metal jar, whatever. Cool. Let's take a look. All right. Nice. Oh God, I can see that. Oh boy. Oh dear God. Oh dear God. This thing is crazy. Oh, this one's hard to look at. Oh, what on earth is this contraption? Dear sweet Jesus. Oh my God. This is kind of the G-Shock that I'm scared of, guys. This is the kind of thing, when I think of G-Shocks, I think of this, you know? Way too much going on, a huge big hunk of plastic. It's kind of cool. It's like the other one on the inside, but then it's in a wrapper of what feels like rubber silicone or something. Actually looks better in the viewfinder in the camera than it does in real life, to be. That's not a good sign, is it? Let me try it on. Thanks, fellas. I don't take it to heart if I'm not loving. Maybe it'll grow on me. I mean, this is it. I gotta wear it around. I'll try this thing on. Wow, very cool mechanism there for the buckle. I don't know how that really works, but that is really cool. All right, with a bullet. You're now looking at the Timeless Watch channel with a G-Shock on. Who would have ever thought that could happen. I'll show you another angle here. Using the light here big time. I mean, size-wise, it's me, right? Size-wise, for sure. Dang. Well, you know, it's a statement piece. It's definitely not going under the radar, this thing. What features it's got, I have no clue. I'm sure it has some sort of light. I don't know that. Let's see. Oh, I heard a beeping. It's got a stopwatch and all sorts of stuff. I don't even... Oh, there's the light. It worked. Okay. Dear Lord. This, I swear to God, this is the kind of thing I'm like, that's the reason I'll never buy a G-Shock. You know what? Now that I have it on, isn't this true with all watches? Once you put them on, it gives you the sense... I mean, what is that? 17 millimeters, 16 and a half millimeters in thickness? Because of this thing that's around it. It reminds me of when you get an iPhone, a beautiful iPhone, and then put a huge rubber reinforced thing around it. It's like, what's the point? But I guess the point here is to be shock resistant. You could probably drop this from the top of the Salute and it'll be fine. Not something I could say about any of my other watches. So, cool. All right, I mean, definitely pretty good. Better than I thought. Better than I thought, guys, definitely. I think between the two, I think the black on black, just because it's a little sleeker and stealthier and a bit more me, you know. I'm not 18 years old anymore, you know, so there's that. And but I definitely feel the appreciation for the sturdiness of this. I mean, I would take this into World War III with me. If there's ever a zombie apocalypse, this is the watch I'm putting on, because there's no way you can break it. All right, guys, that's it. There's the two of them together. Thank you so much, Marco, JJ, and Tim, especially, for putting this whole thing together, fellas. You guys are the best. Guys, if you're not already subscribed, Tim Wright, he does the live streams pretty much every night. JJ, the Gentleman's Hangout, and Marco, of course, the Watch Cardinal. Go check them out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, fellas. That was fun.